Hi guys, welcome to Wicked Movie Channel, and this is the second part of the best thrillers of 2021. Unfortunately, there were not a lot of good movies of this genre this year, but we think that from this collection you can choose something to watch. Be sure to check the previous video on this topic. We will leave the link in the descriptions below. So, let's not waste any time and begin. Till Death. Marriage of Emma and Mark has cracked a long time ago, but couple is still together and Mark is arranging a beautiful evening for his wife on another wedding anniversary. After dinner at the expensive restaurant, the couple go to their country house by the lake, where there is not a soul nearby. It would seem that their relationship may begin to improve, but in the morning, Emma wakes up handcuffed to her husband's body. She tries to free herself, but it's not so easy, and soon the girl will have more problems due to intruders. This thriller is a simpler, from a psychological point of view, version of the movie Gerald's Game, but more dynamic and rich in action, since the main character is not chained to a motionless bed. A film with a fairly predictable but at the same time a well-developed plot which quickly turns from a psychological drama into a thriller with elements of an action movie. You won't lose anything if you skip this vid, but you probably won't regret choosing it. 10th place, Till Death. My Son. A little boy disappears from the children's camp without a trace, and the whole district begins a large-scale search. His father Edmund returns from a distant business trip and also wants to help. All complicated his strained relationship with his ex-wife and guilt over his constant absence. Having received small clues, Edmund begins to conduct his own, by no means safe investigation. This is a British remake of French film My Son. The result is a dark thriller reminiscent of Scandinavian films, about the atonement and how a respectable person discovers primal rage when it comes to his family. The movie is not for everyone and will primarily appeal to fans of atmospheric thrillers, in which drama and action prevail over a fascinating investigation. 9th place, My Son. Reminiscence. The near future. The world that has recently gone through another war also suffers from the consequences of global warming. Nick lives in half-flooded Miami and makes money by providing unusual services. Having special equipment, he gives people for money to relive happy moments or just plunge into some events in their memory. One day, the spectacular May comes to him and asks to help her find the missing keys. A romance ensues between them, but soon the girl mysteriously disappears. Nick begins to look up for her, but the further he investigates this case, the more terrible the secrets that it hides turn out to be. This is a detective thriller that looks like a fantasy noir. As a plus, there is an interesting idea, a good soundtrack, and a bright setting. But there is also a rather big minus. The narrative clearly suffers from its own protractedness. And the underestimated movie on the same topic, Strange Days, in 1995, we think it came out much better. The film is suitable for one-time viewing, but obviously nothing more. If you're interested, there is one old movie on the same topic, Strange Days, in 1995. We think that it came out much better. 8th place, Reminiscence. The Boy Behind the Door. Bobby and Kevin are inseparable best friends. When the boys are playing in the park, Kevin suddenly disappears. Bobby goes to look for him, and the attacker kidnaps the boy. Bobby wakes up gauging the trunk of a car parked in the garage of the house, somewhere in the middle of nowhere. The boy wants to run away, but he hears Kevin scream, and then decides to save his friend. This is a striking low-budget thriller that starts without any long intros. The horror begins to occur in the very first shot. The tension is correctly built up here. There are particularly no banal screamers and jump scares here. The thriller came out quite believable and original. Something is constantly happening here, and the viewer is not allowed to relax. 7th place, The Boy Behind the Door. Beckett. American Beckett is vacationing with his girlfriend April while traveling in Greece. Driving along a deserted road at night, they get into a car accident. Waking up, Beckett realizes that he is in some unknown place among strangers who don't speak English. Moreover, people suddenly appear who are trying to kill him, so he has to go to the run, not even knowing why he became a target. The movie begins as a love story, with details of the relationship that are insignificant for the overall plot, but only after some time it transferred into an action thriller about the hunt for a man. The film doesn't have very high marks on the IMDb and other movie sites, and due to the unsuccessful pace of development of the story, as well as the low emotional impact, but it has its own strength. Firstly, its realism. The main character is a completely ordinary person who doesn't turn into an experienced fugitive in the matter of hours, but at the same time is quite capable of outwitting the pursuers. Secondly, the action-packed thriller is filmed in such a way that unexpected scenario twists follow one after another. But anyway, this is not the best example of the genre, but still it can captivate and grab attention. In general, it is far from masterpiece, but not as bad as Movie Resources rating says. 6th place, Beckett. Cop Shop. The events take place in a desert area of Nevada. A young police officer, Valerie, gets punched into the face and arrests the man who attacked her, and then puts him in a cell in her precinct. On the same night, a drunk driver who drove into a police car gets behind bars. This is not the last person who will be in the station at night, as soon as a violent confrontation will break out here, and Valerie will have to make difficult decisions. The new film by Joe Carnahan, who directed The Good, Boss Level, The Grey, and Smoking Aces. This time it turned out to be a very sprightly and brutal police thriller action movie. It has quite low budget, almost all the actions take place in one room. However, many unexpected plot twists, various characters, a whole gallery of villains makes it not cheap at all, and rather fascinating. 5th place, Cop Shop. The Car Counter. The main character is a secretive and unsociable poker player, Will Tell. After military service and time in prison, he makes his living by traveling to different cities and winning small sums in the casino. In prison, Tell learned to count cards, which allows him to always be in the black. The player's habitual life changes after meeting with Kirk, a young man obsessed with revenge, and Linda, a woman from the world of poker and gambling. The film director Paul Schroeder, the best known for his many years of collaborating with Martin Scorsese. Together, they made 4 movies, the most successful of which was Taxi Driver. And its mood and structure, The Card Counter just reminds the movie. The director focuses on the aspects. The focus is on the issue of guilt and redemption, through well-written dialogues. This film doesn't for everyone. It is a slow, rather old-fashioned thriller, but it will definitely find its audience. 4th place, The Card Counter. The Guilty. The actions take place in Los Angeles. Officer Joe Baylor temporarily works on the 911 hotline. He redirects calls to the fire department and provides support to those in distress. Not everyone in town calls for a good reason, so Joe can barely deal with an annoyance. He almost dropped another call, but suddenly realized that a woman who'd just been kidnapped is talking to him. This is a remake of a Danish thriller of the same name, which, with the exception of the few details, completely repeats the original. All the actions take place literally in several rooms, but at the same time, the movie clearly shows that it can work great and beat on the nerves, even in such limited conditions, and practically with just one actor in the frame. A rare, modern thriller that doesn't sag for a minute and managed to scare you with only telephone conversation. Dynamic, atmospheric, and effective. 3rd place, The Guilty. Old. Happy family with 2 children goes to a tropical resort. The friendly hotel manager advises them to visit the secret beach with a beautiful view with other guests. But soon, tourists realize that something is wrong with this place and all of them are in danger. M. Night Shyamalan is one of the most controversial directors. His work ranges from the masterpiece The Sixth Sense and failed The Last Airbender. He has both ardent fans and outright haters. But it's impossible not to admit that Shyamalan is a talented person and often takes a bright and bold projects, which is confirmed by excellent feats with small budget. So, Old turned out to be quite controversial, but at the same time a bright and original movie. From the point of view of thriller, everything is fine here. An eerie atmosphere and suspense are being popped up. The viewer feels like the main characters are running out of time and they need to hurry up and solving riddles in order to survive. In the end, everything depends on your personal perception, how critical you will be about details. In any case, the film is worth watching. With controversial estimates, the movie has already earned 5 times more than its budget. Second place, Old. Last Night in Soho. Eloise comes from the English province to London to study design. Modest and passionate about retro, it doesn't really fit into a fashionable student get-together and therefore moves from a hostel to a rented room in an old house. At night, falling asleep in a new place, Eloise suddenly moves to London in the 60s, where she watches the singer Sandy trying to break into the capital's show business. What the girl initially perceives as the harmless dreams turn out to be something more and soon takes a dark and terrifying character. The new film by Edgar Wright, director of Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, and Baby Driver, is both a detective, a thriller, and a horror movie. All these genres replace each other through the movie, but unfortunately not all of them turned out equally well. Some episodes seems to be crumpled, which slightly spoils the impression, but in general the detective story came out interesting and even unexpected in some moments. It is a stylish movie, a soundtrack carefully selected by the director and bright main characters. The film turned out not flawless, but at least spectacular. First place, Last Night in Soho. Well, this is it. Thanks for watching. Share your movie impressions in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe and put the big thumbs up. See you. Bye.